Let's open Pandora's box, shall we?
Into the jungle,
Welcome to the jungle, also known as high school, but beneath this frenzy lies a battlefield where every color, every word, every mask hold a deeper meaning. Today, we're decoding 7 deeper meanings in Mean Girls the Musical. Are you ready to look beyond the pink? The Burn Book stands as a potent emblem of the harm that can be inflicted through words and gossip. Far from being a mere narrative convenience, this book captures the venomous undercurrents that can pervade teenage friendships and social networks. The Burn Book is not only a repository of secrets and rumors, it is a catalyst for conflict, capable of dismantling the social structure of North Shore High with its revelations. The book's introduction and its subsequent role in the plot highlight the way in which words, once written or spoken, take on a life of their own, becoming weapons that can damage reputations and sever bonds. The musical amplifies this concept through songs and dialogue that underline the Burn Book's impact. And for instance, when the contents of the Burn Book are exposed, the resulting chaos is not just a fallout over secrets being revealed, it's a dramatic illustration of the power of words to hurt and divide. This moment of exposure leads to a pivotal scene where characters are forced to confront the accusations and slander pinned about them. The ensuing turmoil is a vivid dramatization of the Burn Book's destructive capabilities as friendships are questioned and alliances are broken. Once a network of interconnected social circles, the school devolves into a battleground where trust is the first casualty. The musical cleverly uses the Burn Book as a device to explore themes of trust, betrayal, and the consequences of malicious gossip. It serves as a mirror to the characters, forcing them to confront the darker aspects of their relationships and the parts they have played in contributing to the toxic environment. Through this, the Burn Book becomes more than an object. It symbolizes the fragility of reputation and the ease with which unkind words can tarnish it. Furthermore, the conflict resolution surrounding the Burn Book offers a commentary on redemption and the possibility of healing. The characters' journey toward understanding and reconciling with one another in the aftermath of the Burn Book's revelations suggests that while words can cause deep wounds, forgiveness and growth are possible. And this narrative arc underscores the idea that individuals and communities can move beyond the pain caused by destructive words and rebuild stronger, more compassionate connections. And just as the Burn Book sparked a revolution at North Shore High, we aim to spark a revolution right here, transforming how we look at the art and mystery of storytelling. But every revolution needs its revolutionaries, its champions of change, and it's simpler than you think. Now back to the wilds of high school and the lessons we learned from Mean Girls. In the vibrant world of Mean Girls the Musical, colors and costumes do more than set the scene. They actively contribute to the narrative, becoming silent storytellers. The use of pink, for instance, is a strategic choice that goes beyond aesthetic appeal. It is the uniform of the Plastics, a group at the pinnacle of the social structure, symbolizing their exclusivity and command over the school's social order. Regina George's decree, "On Wednesdays we wear pink," is not merely a quirky rule, but a declaration of unity and power. The color becomes a visual cue to the audience, demarcating the Plastics from the rest of the student body and reinforcing their status as the elite. Katie Heron's evolution through the musical is marked by her shifting wardrobe, a visual chronicle of her struggle between remaining true to herself and succumbing to the allure of acceptance by the Plastics. Initially, Katie's attire reflects her background and unpretentious nature, starkly contrasting with the Plastics' polished looks. However, as she begins to infiltrate their ranks, her wardrobe undergoes a transformation, adopting more elements of pink and aligning with the Plastics' style. And this shift is not merely sartorial, it signifies her internal conflict and the seductive pull of assimilation into the Plastics world. When Katie fully embraces the Plastics dress code, she symbolically sheds her whole identity, attempting to camouflage her true self beneath the facade of conformity. The other characters' costumes also serve as visual shorthand for their personalities and social standings. For example, with their distinct eclectic styles, Janice Sarkeesian and Damian Hubbard visually embody their outsider status and rejection of the school's prevailing social norms. Their attire is a badge of honor, a proud declaration of their individuality and disdain for the conformity that the plastics represent. Moreover, the spring fling scene encapsulates the culmination of Katie's internal struggle and the narrative exploration of identity. Katie's attire for the event, a balance between her original and assuming style and the high school fashion influences of the plastics, symbolizes her realization that she need not conform to one extreme. This moment is a powerful visual metaphor for her newfound understanding of identity as manifold and fluid, rather than fixed and defined by external appearances. The jungle motif is a touching metaphor for the cutthroat environment of high school social dynamics. This imagery is imbued with meaning, casting the high school experience as a wilderness where survival is contingent upon adaptability, strength, and sometimes cunning. The opening number, It Roars, introduces this concept with Katie Heron recounting her upbringing in the African savannah, immediately drawing parallels between the literal jungle of her past and the metaphorical jungle she encounters at North Shore High. The jungle imagery is cleverly woven throughout the musical, reinforcing the notion that the social hierarchy of high school mimics the natural world's brutal reality, where only the fittest survive. Sounds a bit like my high school. The plastics, however, led by Regina George, are depicted as the apex predators of this environment, reigning over their peers with a mix of allure and intimidation. Regina's assertion, "I'm the queen of the jungle now," is not just a boast, but a declaration of her dominance atop the social food chain, underscoring that survivalist ethos that permeates the school's corridors. This Darwinian struggle extends beyond the plastics to encompass the entire student body, each member vying for their place in the social ecosystem. Damien and Janice, serving as Katie's guides through high school society, introduce her to various cliques and factions, mapping out the terrain of this jungle with the precision of seasoned explorers. Their description of the cafeteria as a microcosm of the school's broader social landscape further illustrates that navigating high school is akin to navigating a treacherous wilderness. The musical uses the jungle as a backdrop to explore identity, competition, and transformation. Katie's journey from newcomer to apex predator and back to a more balanced self reflects the natural cycle of growth and change inherent in the natural world. Her realization that true strength lies not in dominance but in authenticity and compassion marks her evolution as a character. It serves as a critique of the survival of the fittest mentality. And one of the musical's coolest scenes, the fallout from the burn book's exposure, is depicted as a chaotic free-for-all, a wildlife documentary coming to life where the social order collapses into primal chaos. And the scene vividly captures the jungle's imagery essence, portraying the high school as a place where the veneer of civilization is thin and the base instincts of survival and competition often prevail. The Halloween party is another big moment, rich in symbolism and revelation. This event is not just festive, it's a thematic crucible where the characters' hidden selves and public facades collide with startling clarity. The party acts as a masquerade, literally and figuratively, inviting attendees to don costumes that reflect not just their creative whims, but also the deeper aspects of the identities they wish to express, or paradoxically hide. One of the most telling moments comes from Katie Heron's costume choice. Opting for a frightful zombie bride getup, Katie starkly contrasts the sexually charged costumes favored by the plastics. This choice is emblematic of Katie's naivety about the high school's social norms and her lingering connection to her more authentic self, untouched by the manipulative games of Regina George and her clique. Katie's costume inadvertently becomes a statement of defiance against the superficiality that the plastics champion, highlighting her struggle to fit in while also staying true to who she really is. Regina George's costume, on the other hand, epitomizes the power dynamics at play. Dressed as a sexy bunny, Regina embodies the role of the seductress, wielding her sexuality as a form of power and control. This choice reflects her understanding of the social economy of high school, where attractiveness and allure can be manipulated to maintain dominance. The costume is a mask that both conceals Regina's insecurities and amplifies her social power, reinforcing the interplay between appearance and identity. The Halloween party is a microcosm of the broader social masquerade that defines the high school experience. And as the characters navigate the party, their interactions reveal the tensions between the personas they present to the world and their genuine selves. Janice Sarkeesian's and Damien Hubbard's commentary during the party acts as a Greek chorus, providing insights into the motivations and vulnerabilities of their peers. Their observations shed light on the performative nature of identity, emphasizing how the social masks worn by the students often hide fears, desires, and insecurities. Moreover, the aftermath of the Halloween party catalyzes a shift in the story, sparking a series of revelations and confrontations. The fallout from Katie's costume choice and her interactions at the party underscores the theme of authenticity versus artifice. And this event propels Katie further into the social labyrinth of North Shore High, forcing her to confront the consequences of her attempts to assimilate into the plastics world. Gretchen Wiener's attempt to popularize the term fetch transcends surface-level humor to embody a deeper narrative on social dynamics, acceptance, and identity. This seemingly trivial endeavor reveals the interplay of fitting in and the desire for recognition within the harsh ecosystem of the high school hierarchy. Regina's repeated insistence, "Stop trying to make fetch happen, it's not going to happen," becomes a refrain that resonates with the universal experience of seeking validation from peers, only to face dismissal or indifference. Gretchen's fixation with making fetch a widespread slang term shows her struggle for a distinct identity within the plastics and the broader school community. It's a bid for influence, a way to leave her mark on the social lexicon of North Shore High. However, Regina George's sharp dismissal of the term, and by extension Gretchen's efforts, is a stark reminder of the power dynamics within their group. Regina's rejection is not just about a word, it's a public repudiation of Gretchen's value and contributions, emblematic of the broader theme of seeking and failing to gain approval within one's chosen community. The musical's lyrics and dialogue further explore this motif of striving for acceptance. In What's Wrong With Me, Gretchen's solo number, she sings of her insecurities and the longing for validation, not just from Regina's, but from the world. The song is a tender exploration of the inner turmoil caused by unmet needs for approval, highlighting how deeply personal and painful the quest for social acceptance can be. Gretchen's voice invites the audience to empathize with the emotional toll of feeling unseen and undervalued. Furthermore, fetch is a metaphor for the broader social tendency to impose trends and standards, reflecting the arbitrary nature of popularity and the capriciousness of collective approval. The audience is prompted to reflect on the countless times they've witnessed or participated in social dynamics of a similar nature, where the desire to be recognized, to belong, leads to a willingness to adopt or promote anything deemed valuable by others, regardless of its intrinsic worth. Gretchen's journey throughout the musical, from her initial attempts to assert her individuality through fetch and her eventual realization of her worth beyond the confines of the plastics, mirrors a universal narrative of growth and self-discovery. It underscores the importance of finding one's voice and value independent of external validation, highlighting the resilience required to navigate the complexities of social belonging and personal identity. The math competition is a decisive moment for Katie Heron, symbolizing a shift from social maneuvering back to her academic strengths and genuine self. This event is a subplot and a central narrative device highlighting the clash between personal integrity and social conformity. The math competition becomes a symbol of intellectual valor within the musical's context, challenging the stereotype that popularity and academic achievement are mutually exclusive. Katie's participation in the math competition is a significant act of defiance against the shallow values imposed by the plastics. It marks a turning point in her transformation, as she begins to recognize the hollowness of social accolades compared to the fulfillment derived from pursuing her true passions. The lyrics from Do This Thing, where Katie rallies with her mathletes team, underscore this realization. She sings of the thrill of competition and the joy of engaging with her intellect, a stark contrast to the anxiety and manipulation involved in, navigating that high school social labyrinth. And this moment is underscored by the enthusiastic response from her teammates and the audience at the competition, affirming that achievement and community can be found outside the narrow confines of popularity. Moreover, the math competition, it shows the social battles waged throughout the musical. While the physical confrontations in the jungle of high school are marked by gossip, betrayal, and social climbing, the math competition represents a more noble contest, where victory is achieved through wit, preparation, and teamwork. It's a realm where Katie's skills and values are relevant and celebrated, highlighting the contrast between the superficiality of high school politics and the authenticity of academic competition. And Katie's success in the math competition also represents a reconciliation with her past and a reclamation of her identity. Having spent her formative years in Africa, Katie's initial portrayal in the musical is that of a girl untainted by the complexity of American high school society. Her adeptness in mathematics and her initial indifference to the social hierarchy indicate a character whose self-worth is grounded in her intellect and personal integrity. And the competition reminds Katie and the audience of her inherent strengths and the person she was before being seduced by the allure of the plastics. The aftermath of the math competition tells of Katie's growth. Winning the competition doesn't just bring her accolades, but a sense of self-respect and an understanding that her value does not depend on her social status. This realization allows her to forge a new path that balances her academic interests with a healthier approach to social interactions. And in this way, the math competition catalyzes Katie's self-discovery, propelling her towards a more integrated sense of identity that embraces both her intellectual prowess and her social experiences. The spring fling crown is a powerful emblem of transformation and communal harmony in the climactic scene. This moment, when Katie Heron decides to break the crown and distribute its pieces among her peers, transcends the traditional notion of victory. It's a scene of celebration, but also a profound statement on inclusivity, recognition, and mutual respect. The spring fling crown, initially a symbol of high school royalty and exclusivity, becomes a vehicle for Katie's realization of the true essence of leadership and community. The act of shattering the crown is laden with significance, marking a departure from the hierarchical and competitive dynamics that have dominated the story. Katie's gesture of sharing the crown is a visual and narrative pivot, emphasizing that worth and validation are not finite resources to hoard, but qualities that flourish when shared. This scene is underscored by the musical's dialogue and lyrics, which highlight the impact of Katie's actions on her peers. The stunned silence that follows the breaking of the crown, soon replaced by the chorus of supportive cheers, symbolizes the breaking of long-held social conventions. Through this act, Katie challenges the status quo, advocating for a new paradigm where success is not measured by dominance over others, but by the ability to uplift and recognize the value in everyone. Moreover, the distribution of the crown pieces among her classmates, including Janice, Damien, and even Regina George, illustrates the theme of redemption and the capacity for change. It acknowledges that everyone, regardless of their past actions, has inherent value and the potential for positive contribution to the community. This gesture signifies the dissolution of past animosities and the possibility of reconciliation and mutual respect. This musical utilizes this moment to critique the competitive, exclusionary culture often prevalent in high school settings. By transforming the crown from a symbol of individual achievement into a symbol of collective unity, Mean Girls the Musical advocates for a more compassionate and inclusive approach to social interactions. It suggests that true victory lies not in personal accolades, but in the strength of the community and the bonds of friendship and respect that unite its members. In the aftermath of the spring fling, the narrative trajectory of the characters reflects the impact of Katie's gesture. The characters exhibit growth and a newfound appreciation for the diverse talents and qualities that each person brings to the table. The musical concludes on a hopeful note, envisioning a future where the lessons learned at the spring fling lead to a more inclusive and supportive school environment. And that wraps up our look at 7 deeper meanings in Mean Girls the Musical. How many did you miss or get? You know the drill. Like, share, and subscribe, hitting that notification bell to keep up with new content. And there are a few more off-Broadway plays I'll be seeing this season, so you don't want to miss more looks at contemporary theater. In the meantime, check this one out on Rent the Musical.